Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the Around the 412 Fantasy Football Podcast where, like Jamar Chase, we stay spitting. This is week 12, and with me, as always, is the magnificent, the ball knower, the ultimate locker room glue guy, Drew Hannis. Drew, how are we doing today?
I was good until you started the show off with that.
I had to do it. You just got to talk about it. Just get it out. Just get it out in the open. I've been holding that in for near and dear to my heart.
I hated it. I didn't like that. So yeah, up, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
We're here. We're getting to like the trade deadline heavy parts of the fantasy season. I know a lot of the default ESPN leagues, the trade deadline is this week. So if you have trade questions, pop those in the chat. If you have questions about starts and sit, let's get them in the chat. We'll get rolling with those. But yeah, I'm super pumped. The Scott Fishbowl playoffs start this week. Looking good moving in. I'm currently sitting at 26, which feels pretty good. I know that you hit the top 2,500 points threshold, but didn't really break that way for you, but still a solid season nonetheless.
This is my first year not making the playoffs in Fishbowl. It is what it is. I just missed it too because I almost got to the 13.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of leagues that I saw this year where there was no like runaway teams. So yeah, just like they barely hit the win cutoff, but they didn't have a lot of points to show for it. So it's just a tough break to be on that side of it. But that's life, that's ball. Still a great time.
I was second in points against in my league too. Like I just didn't have a lot of luck. Most of my wins came from league median. It just was one of those bad years.
Yeah, that's tricky too. How do you feel about like league median scoring? Would you ever implement that in just like a regular?
I want to implement it in all my leagues. I like it a lot better because it sucks when you're like the second or third highest and you end up facing the team that just is the highest. It sucks. It's just crap. And if you miss the playoffs because of shit like that, it's the worst. Like I would implement it. I'll probably propose it in a lot of the dynasty leagues that we have.
Yeah, I go back and forth because on one hand it's like, okay, let me just let the chips fall where they may. The way that we've handled it in the league that I've commissioned the longest is that it's a 12-team league. 6 teams get into the playoffs. The 6th spot goes to the player with the highest score that wasn't in the top 5. So basically your last wild card spot doesn't really the record doesn't matter. I think in the 10 years, I think it's only switched things around twice. But I feel like most of the time it works itself out. A lot of times, like that last spot, you have a bunch of people that are tied, and then you have like a substantial amount of points, and then you're fine. But
I have a league where the top team is 8-3.
Yeah,
and they're 7th in points for. Like that, it's stuff like that. Like the dude's winning like with like the 7th highest score and just sneaking by against like the worst team, and like. Great, you're gonna make the playoffs, but like if you continue that luck on and there are people that are scoring a lot of points and lose it, it just sucks. Like I hate that.
Yeah. No, I feel that for sure. Well, that's the game. I like the element of surprise. I like the unexpectedness of it. That's why I like having kickers. That's why I like having defense. It's just I don't need it to be this predictable thing. Let the person that's got 7th most points run the league. Like I'm cool with that, but I get the vibe. But Drew, throw on the lab jacket. Once again, week 11, really tough on the injury front. So let's break those down, and then we'll start hitting some of the questions we got in the chat.
Yeah, we can start with the quarterbacks. Michael Penix tore his ACL again. It's rough. We were talking about it pre-show. I mean, we'll expect him to come back, but like it's going to start getting to the point where he might just have some chronic knee issues, like degenerative knee problems, and it's just you hope for the best for the dude, but it just sucks. This is the 3rd time towards ACL. Long road back. I don't expect him to play much of next year personally. They already called him out for 9 months because he needs his surgery. He's gonna come back right before the season, It's going to need a lot of ramp up to get back. Like, look at Brandon Ayuk, who tore his ACL earlier in the season last year. Dude still is not on the field.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good thing they have. I'm pretty sure they have Kirk signed through next year yet. So he's probably going to be the guy. His dynasty value just out of nowhere is right back up, even though he's looked horrible.
And it's funny because there was a lot of talk like after he made that one start, hey, should they trade him? He wants to be traded to give in that spot. And they were like, no, we're not doing it. I didn't think that there was going to be a market for him based on the way that he looked. He looked horrendous.
Yeah. I do think that a lot of it was rust because it's tough coming back from a torn Achilles. Like, you saw the same thing happen with Rodgers. He had some rust. He was able to kick some of that rust off at the end of last year. He was looking a lot better. I mean, he's been up and down as of late, but maybe Kirk will come back around. But, I mean, most dynasty leagues are 2 QB super flex, so his value is back. It's just a matter of if he could squeak into being a top 20 quarterback. But he has the weapons there to make it possible. So,
true.
Even at his age. Keep it with the Falcons. This one's rough, too. Drake London, he suffered a sprained PCL. And honestly, the best way to put this one is just look at Brock Bowers, look at Puka Nacua last year, look at Ricky Pearsall. Like, it's the instability of that knee when you're cutting. Even if it's not a severe injury, it messes with you when you take steps. Like, it just feels like your knee's going to give out. It basically ruined half of Brock Bowers' season, and this is coming at the worst time, playoff time. He's definitely going to be out this week. It's going to be a week-to-week thing. But this is more of a mental thing. Like, it could really ruin the rest of his season because he's going to be taking steps. And Ricky Pearsall said it himself. He was just like, I don't feel comfortable when I take a step. So that's why he was out for as long as he was. So Drake London's going to be week to week. Darnell Mooney, I think, is definitely a guy you can look at as a fill-in. But with the fact that Penix is now out, Kirk Cousins has looked the way he has, it's hard to feel good about that as well.
Could it finally be Kyle Pitts' season?
We still need Kirk to deliver, but I mean, yeah.
I would probably prefer
Pitts
him over Mooney. Mooney just hasn't really shown it.
Yeah.
Chad's slanging out those deep sleepers in the chat. Nick Nash, preseason darling. DFS sleeper. Yeah, I think they will actually pay you to put Nick Nash in your DFS lineup.
He might not even be available.
You get $200 in DFS money for playing him.
300. That's funny because, yeah, it didn't even register in my head because like the minimum is 300, but you're right, they'll pay you because you're just giving them the free money.
Yeah.
But yeah, Drake London, that's another tough one. Josh Jacobs suffered a knee injury. He's week to week. I expect Emmanuel Wilson to play this week. Honestly, if you were able to get him off waivers, this is awesome because the dude's going to step in there, a good rushing attack. He's going to have all the ball to himself. He can win some matchups the next 3 weeks. He's probably a top 15 play every week, maybe even top 10 depending on their matchup. So if you're able to get Emmanuel Wilson, I know that you have him in Fishbowl, which is another timely thing. Like, honestly,
I've had him for weeks.
Yeah, I honestly,
as soon as the first time that it popped up for Josh Jacobs being iffy,
yeah.
I was like, all right, we're doing this now.
I snatched him up in a few dynasty leagues, but it's funny. Like, I go into dynasty, and you said the same thing to me last week off camera. We always, when something happens, we go into the waiver wire. It's always you or me that already has the guy. It's weird, but I went into 3 leagues with you, and Emmanuel Wilson's on your roster and all of them. It's just, it always works out that way. But honestly, back to the Fishbowl for a second, if I could place money on DraftKings on who's going to win Fishbowl, I would throw my money on your team because
I wouldn't. There are some dogs up there, and I was looking today. I'm currently in second place amongst all people named Joe, and that is my goal. Is there's a guy, I forget his last name. It's Joey something, but he currently is beating me by 7 points. I need to take him down.
It's just the fact that you drafted the top 2 best options in the first 2 rounds. And then there's guys that are getting opportunities that you drafted late. Emmanuel Wilson's huge for you, especially if Josh Jacobs misses 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. That's the first 2 rounds of the playoffs already.
Yeah. Well, the big question is, does Marv come back?
He'll be back next week, I think. It's usually a couple week thing.
because the other interesting name that I've picked up as of
Jacoby
late,
Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett, out of
Yeah.
nowhere. That's been awesome. So it's like I got Brissett. I have Harvey. So if Harvey can tear one, that'd be great. Brees Hall, but like he's been good for that format, not necessarily like real fantasy. Not that Fishbowl isn't, but the points per carry, the points per first
Yeah.
down, like he is money in those.
He's going to be better now with Tyrod Taylor. He's going to be better.
Yeah. Well,
I think
maybe we'll see.
I think he'll get a lot more dump offs, which is even better for Fishbowl.
True.
So we'll see. We'll get back to this though. Jalen Warren, ankle injury. MT already said on Tuesday's presser. I got the Snapchat reminder to make sure I go watch. He could have came back in the game. It's just that Kenneth Gainwell is playing so well. Like I think the bigger issue with Jalen Warren is we don't know who's going to be the guy week to week. Like they might have the most confusing backfield in the league at this point.
Well, I feel like the problem is the way that people perceived Warren and his skill set with Najee was that he was the third down guy. So therefore this year he's going to be the bell cow guy. And that means he's going to get all of the Najee workload and then also the stuff that he's retained. He basically is Najee now.
Yeah.
And he's not getting the dump offs that Gainwell gets. I mean, Gainwell led the team in receiving last week.
Yeah. It's honestly like they're riding the hot hand though too. Like they're getting full drives too. It's weird and you don't know what's going to happen.
I don't hate it from a real life perspective. It's obviously annoying for fantasy, but Jalen Warren is one of those guys that's been hurt pretty much every year he's been in the league. So being able to take away those, I don't think people realized how good Ken Gainwell is. I don't think I can call him Kenny anymore. He's a man. He's Kenneth. Like he's dogging on people.
He was the same way with the Eagles.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Me living over near Philly, like I saw it a ton. Like the dude showed up in the Super Bowl. The dude just played good ball all around. They love him. So I'm not surprised by one bit. I actually traded for Kenneth Gainwell at a few leagues where the deadline was last week because I was like, I just need to make sure I have him because I have a lot of Warren.
I do think, though, we talked about handcuffs last week. If something were to happen to Warren, I don't think that Gainwell necessarily becomes a bell cow either. I think Caleb Johnson slides in a little bit more.
I still think that Gainwell's the bell cow because we've seen it a couple times. Like last week when Warren went out, the Viking game, like they give Caleb Johnson some, but
yeah,
they don't have the split the same way. It's more of like a 70-30.
That's fair. But to me, he is very much knowing how much the Steelers utilize the running back. To me, Kenny Gainwell is maybe the top handcuff to have right now.
Yeah, for sure. I agree because he has standalone value too, more than other guys. And Chad said Caleb was awful. I actually think that Caleb Johnson's getting better every week. It's just one of those things where
what's so hard to evaluate? People were saying the same thing about Travion Henderson when he was getting like 2 carries a game. It's like if you don't make the most of that 2 carries, well.
But Caleb's doing some good things. Like he's been met in the backfield quite a few times. He finds his way back to the line of scrimmage, and he's broken some big like 5 to 12-yard runs a few times. It's just that the volume's not there, so you can't really, unless you're watching the Steelers games closely, you're not seeing it the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kenny G, elite handcuff. He has standalone value too because he gets enough passing game usage that he could be a low end flex if you need that. The thing is too is that he finds the end zone a lot. Like he's making the most of the opportunities that he does get. So, and then Rodgers fractured his wrist. I'll be honest, I think he's gonna play on Sunday. But
I think he is too. There's no way that he's gonna miss a game against the Bears.
Yeah, and the fact that it's his non-throwing hand, I think that he'll find a way to protect the ball. Like,
yeah, it's called Perky's.
I want to repeat what I said in our group chat, but I won't. But I think that he'll play. I feel good about it. And honestly, like to your point against the Bears, like he's actually on. I think he's on the low end QB1 radar this week. We'll see. Their defense isn't good. They've really just been living and dying by the turnover.
They are very aggressive, and they don't get a lot of defensive line pressure. It's a lot of like exotic blitzing, which I feel like is a lot harder for him to be tricked by because
Yeah.
he's so old that he's
Yeah.
seen it all.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting too because it's harder to execute blitzes like that against a team that is quick passing.
Right.
But in the same token, it was a smash matchup for him last week too.
But he did get hurt.
He did get hurt, true.
Like he did have a touchdown pass early. They stalled a few drives, but they didn't have the ball that long in the first half. You know what I mean? He still ended up with like 12 points.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. It was better than my Tua play last week, I'll tell you what. Man, my rankings were atrocious last week, by the way. So Chad said he's definitely not passing up the opportunity to say, I still own your ass, even with one hand. Yeah. That's pretty valid.
Yeah. One more injury, and then we'll talk about one more thing transitioning for guys that's been hurt. But Calvin Ridley fractured his fibula, and he'll be done for this season. So, I mean, the Titans are just a tough watch in general, but, I mean, Kimray DK suffered a concussion and a chest contusion, so, like, he's still questionable as well. So, I mean, what do we have on bye? Broncos, Chargers, Dolphins, Commanders. There's some receivers there that people are going to be without. Maybe Alec Manner's a low-end flex, but probably not. That team's just brutal. But this is
Cam Ward has been looking good, though, and I think if you are more of a ball watcher or just like a box score follower, you're probably looking like, man, like Cam Ward bust. I need to get rid of him in Dynasty. I feel like he's a major buy low. This team is so devout of talent. Yeah. There's nothing that you can do. But every week he puts some throws out there or does something that's pretty insane that it's like, okay, like if they can finally get some talent around him, like he's going to be all right.
Yeah, what they need to do is they really need to get the number one pick and they need to trade back for a haul.
They could trade back for like a third rounder if they have to, like anything to accumulate more players that are not like these bums. Like y'all were starting Tyler Lockett at one point this year. Like y'all need to quit.
Just get that number one pick, trade back, draft one of those stud receivers, maybe get like a Malachi Lemon.
Malachi Lemon's amazing.
Yeah, Jordan Tyson. Get yourself a top end receiver, and try to build up the O line as well. They need a lot. It's not a him problem. I love his attitude towards the game and like how real he is, and I think that he eventually is going to be good.
For sure, yeah.
While we're on the opportunity for buy low talk here, do you think Kyler Murray's buy low? We brought up Brissett too. I low key think that Kyler Murray's going to be buy low because I think that's another job next year.
Here's the thing: you are saying this as a Kyler Murray owner on a live platform trying to prop your stuff up. So I feel like I have to immediately shut this down.
I have like 5 leagues where I don't have him, and I will try to acquire him. But
I think the hard part is that the upside with Kyler Murray was always the rushing upside, right? And he didn't really run as much this year or last year.
True. But,
so, I mean, I personally wouldn't. I feel like it has to be like an exceptional buy low. Like, if you look at, say, like Justin Fields, I think Kyler Murray is leaps and bounds better than Justin Fields. But you know that it's going to be there's a fine line that you're walking where you're saying, hey, like, I think that I can get more value out of him than what I'm paying. But I don't see him as a long-term buy. Like, he's somebody that you buy. He like looks good week 1 against the Cardinals, kind of like how Fields did against the Steelers, and you immediately sell him.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of effort, and I don't feel like the leagues that I'm in trade that rapidly, so it's just not worth the squeeze for me.
I would trade Kyler, to your point. It's just that I wouldn't sell him low. Like, I don't do that. So it would have to be what I think his value would be worth next year. So it's a different discussion. But, like, if I'm buying, I think that he's a buy low candidate.
Well, what would you be willing to give up in that buy low right now? Like, would you you're not going to give up a first.
No.
You're not going to give up a future first. Like, would you give a second rounder for Kyler? I would not.
I would give a second to acquire Kyler.
Let's see. Have you ever?
Because I'm not as high on next year's class. Unless some of these guys that people think are coming out of 27, I don't think some of them are even eligible. Like Jeremiah Smith's not eligible.
Let me see. Have you ever been on dynastydaddy.com? It's
No.
not a weird website. It's like a real one. They like scrape data for trades. I'm curious like who have been some like trades that have happened around Kyler. So let's say we got Dynasty League 2 QBs. I don't want like a million assets. So I'm going to just say like 4. So let's see what people are trading for Kyler these days. So in the last month, we've got Kyler Murray, 14-teamer, full PPR for a 26-2 and a 27-3. We've got Trevor Lawrence for Bill and Kyler Murray. We've got Ricky Pearsall for Corum Murray and a 27-3.
His keep trade cut is
Huh?
his Murray's value on keep trade cut. The industry value for people voting on keep trade cut has him as a mid-second. And I think that's
if it dips into the third, I could be convinced. But I don't think I would do the second unless I get into a draft. Like, so if you look at last year, I felt pretty confident that like after like pick like 14, that like I didn't want anybody anymore. So it would have to be a situation like that where it's like I don't want to draft anybody. Sure, fine, I'll take Kyler, I guess.
So that's the mid-second range. Like, and that's how I feel it's going to be this year. Because there was so many good running backs in last year's class, and then 2 good tight ends. Like, there was a lot of options in last year's class. I don't think that this class is that deep. Like, that's why I've traded out of my 26 picks in a lot of leagues, because I think that all of my leagues are competitive where I'm going to be a playoff team. I think that when I get to the point in the first round, I'm already not interested in the guys.
Yeah. Chad saying high third for him. He is a buy low in baseball leagues. Definitely valid. Maybe like a veteran tight end like Hunter Henry or Dallas Goedert. Oof.
It just depends. Like, we think about what teams he might be on next year. I think that's the real question. If there's a team that makes sense. Like, what if Matthew Stafford wins a Super Bowl this year and they retires and he ends up being a Ram?
He ain't going to the Rams. There's no way.
I'm just throwing out teams. Like, I think that the Cardinals just are going to get rid of him any way they can. He's probably going to the AFC, though. So who in the AFC?
Don't do this to me.
He's not going to be a Jet.
Don't do this to me, Drew. Don't make me say it.
You're the one that's thinking Steeler. I actually think
I don't want it to be, but I mean, they are looking for a quarterback next year.
I think Rodgers is going to come back next year. I still think that. I still do. I don't know why. I think he's having fun and enjoying himself with his team, but that's a different discussion too.
Yeah. I don't know. Chad said he's the perfect 9-8 QB. All right, let's wrap up these injuries. I know you got one more.
Let's just transition. Just to keep this one short, I think Joe Burrow's playing this week. I really do. Like, he practiced in full today. I had this inclination a couple days ago. I just read something about how he just wants to get back, and they're desperate. Like, they're hanging on by a thread here to even make any possible shot at the playoffs. They think as long as they can get in, they have a shot because it is Joe Burrow. I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to play as long as he's healthy. I don't think this is going to be one of those things where they shut him down. They made it pretty clear. I don't think they want him to go into next year missing a full season and having a rust that he has to knock off. So I think he's going to play. I told you pre-show, I think it'd be really funny if he came back and then started to play spoiler with the Ravens, since we've already played them twice and they still have to play them twice. I think that he's going to play this week. I really do. But I know you want to transition into the next headline, which is time.
Yeah, let's hawk to right into these headlines. So Jamar Chase officially suspended for Week 12. You're saying that you think that Joe Burrow is going to play. What do you think that this looks like for the Cincinnati offense? Just to hit you with some stats, Drew, it's been 5 games in T. Higgins' career where he has not had Jamar Chase on his side. He has averaged 6 receptions, 102 yards, and he has had touchdowns in 3 out of the 5 games. So what do you think of the Bengals offense? If it's Flacco, if it's Burrow, do you think that Higgins can hold down the fort? Do you think that this hurts Chase Brown at all?
I actually still think that this will elevate Chase Brown, because like most of what Chase Brown was last year was from the dump offs with Joe Burrow. I think that comes back around. He has a really tough matchup himself this week. The Pats have been very good against the running back. They've actually been pretty good on defense altogether, but I think that they're going to come out high octane offense with Burrow. I think that Higgins is going to have a great game. Gesicki was also opening up his 21-day window today as well.
Yep.
I like Noah Fant as a guy that could still be a low-end tight end one. I've actually played him a couple times in the last few weeks out of necessity, and it wasn't horrible. I mean, it wasn't spectacular, but without Chase this week, there's going to be more opportunity for him. I think that this game has the opportunity to be very high scoring. I think that the Pats are going to really put it on the Bengals, and I think that Joe Burrow's he'll probably start slow. Like he starts slow every year at the beginning. So he's probably going to start slow, but I could definitely see them coming out in the third quarter and he just really starts slinging it around. And T. Higgins is going to be, obviously the main guy that's going to be getting the ball. So I feel good about that. I think there's a chance that the Bengals beat the Pats on Sunday. I really do.
I don't see it, but it would be.
I think that they could.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because that helps us from a playoff perspective. It also keeps the Bengals away from a top pick. It's all positive things for me. So
if they were playing in New England, I'd feel different about it. But the Bengals have had games as of late at home where I felt like their defense played a little better. I still think that the Pats will put up points, but I think that it's not going to be one of those situations like it was with the Jets, where the Jets came in there and put up a bunch. I think that they were going to play a little better knowing that Burrow's back.
Yeah,
so we'll see. I'm thinking about hungry dog and that money line. We'll see.
I don't even know what that means.
They're underdogs. So I was going to bet their money line to win, right? Yeah.
You say hungry dogs?
So. Hank Lockwood from Barstool and Part of My Take does a parlay.
Ooh, Barstool's the bozos. I heard enough.
I like the.
I've heard enough.
I like the Part of My Take guys. I do understand why people don't like a lot of them. But
I've heard enough.
I like Big Cat and PFT, but he does a hungry dog parlay every week where he picks 2 or 3 teams that are expected to lose games and they try to bet it. But
I got you. All right, so one more headline, then we'll jump into the chat with questions. So we see y'all, we hear y'all, we will make some noise.
There are a lot.
Drew, Justin Fields, the best quarterback in Steelers history, allegedly, benched for Tyrod Taylor, as I should say. He doesn't have Garrett Wilson right now, but he still does have Breece Hall. What do you think that this is going to mean? Again, hit you with some stats. The Jets have been under 120 yards passing in 3 of the last 4 games for Justin Fields. Not great. He's only had 6.2 yards per attempt on the season, so it was a very putrid offense. Shockingly, Taylor hasn't been much better. 62% completion, 5.5 yards per attempt. So we're not going to see this offense just be revitalized because Tyrod's there all of a sudden. Interestingly enough as well, a lot of people complaining about the sack rate for Fields. They pretty much have an identical sack rate, around 11.5%. So do you have any optimism moving forward for this Jets offense? I mean, there's a couple pieces that are fantasy relevant. You got Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson if he comes back, Mason Taylor kind of flirting with a fringe tight end 1. Do you see any worth in playing any of those guys? I don't see it for Taylor, but what do you feel about Breece specifically?
I alluded to a little bit earlier when we were talking about Fishbowl. I think we'll get some more dump-off opportunity. It's going to be a lot of garbage time with this team moving forward. Their defense has been absolutely terrible since they traded Sauce. There's not much more to say. You kind of just delivered all of it. The Jets are a terrible football team.
So bad. Do you think Aaron Glenn's one and done?
No. The reason why I say that is because I think that it's going to be like Dan Campbell, where they were he went 0-16, terrible football team. They let him bring in his own guys, and I think that that's what they're letting Aaron Glenn do. I think that they're going to let him just completely change up that team and build it around what he wants it to be. So I think that he'll be back. I do think that they're going to end up with a guy like Fernando Mendoza next year. We'll see how that looks.
Yeah. Just for the record, he was not the O for coach. They went 3-13-1 that first year.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Still pretty horrendous either way.
Yeah.
Tyler said John Mechie legacy game coming. John Mechie is Tyler's like wide receiver version of what's the tight end's name that played for the Chargers and then for the Steelers for a little bit? Like very brief, like he was on our practice squad.
Oh, wait. I thought you guys.
No. It's like the tight end. It was he had like one good game and then he had like a concussion in the end zone.
The real tall guy.
Yeah.
Just give Hurley a second to put it in the chat.
Yeah. But John Mechie, like Hurley's been on that dude for Darnell Parham. Yeah, exactly. He has a similar love for Mechie that he did for Parham. So
Hurley's love for tight ends, honestly, like the league we're in, I think I want to remove tight ends from starting lineups for next year.
Can't do that. Yeah. Don't do that to my boy. That's my goat right there.
It's just because he has Jake Brennanstool on his freaking IR. Like Hurley, that pisses me off. Drop him.
I love that dude. Great commissioner as well, by the way. He does great stuff. So, all right, let's hit some of these questions in the chat. We're going to take it way up to the top here. So, Chad wants to start out with the hottest take question I've ever had cross my mind. Is Lamar done as a fantasy asset this season? 3 good matchups left, but the ankle injury, he's got the Steelers twice, the Packers, and the Patriots.
No. The Ravens are another team that are, they're only 1 game back, but like they need to turn it around as a team, to make noise in the playoffs if they can make it. So like, I think that they're going to play well. I think Lamar, he's always been matchup. He's matchup.
I mean, last year he was a top 6 QB in 90% of his games.
Yeah. Like that's still going to happen for me. His ankle is going to get better. It's not like something severe that he's dealing with. It's more of a nagging thing.
And there's also just some weirdness around the Browns at home.
Yeah,
they always play fantastic defensively at home. I completely ignored that when I ranked last week, and I've said it out loud leading up to the game.
I take no stock in that game whatsoever.
Yeah.
None.
I wouldn't sweat it whatsoever. Now, another great question from Chad. Do I start Shedeur Sanders versus the Vegas Dumpster Fires, or does he go with the long neck Davis Mills versus the Bills? You got to go Mills, right?
You cannot start Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur Dash is crazy.
That's not mine. I stole that.
That is crazy. I don't even want to say anything more than that. That is diabolical.
You cannot start that man. Like, what are we doing here?
If he had more rushing upside, maybe I could see it, but that's not really his game. He kind of had that pre-Colorado days, but in Colorado he was pretty much a pocket passer.
I need to know more about that team though, because he's always in the chat with like all these like crazy quarterbacks on these rosters, and then all of a sudden it's Davis Mills versus Shedeur Dash. I don't understand how we got here.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's what we do. We talk ball. We have a good time. So we got Naori604 in the chat. Welcome to the show. Should I start Jameson Williams, one of our Tinders for the day, or Kenneth Gainwell III coming off of a big Week 11 performance? Flex, full PPR. Drew, who do you like and why?
I think Jamo's a no-brainer. Got a great matchup against the Giants this week. Dan Campbell's been, I don't want to take away from my Tinder, but he's been, finding ways to get Jameson Williams the ball. Sam Laporta's on IR. I think Jameson Williams is easy, yes. Play.
Yeah, I think the challenge for me is just we never know week to week what that split's going to be. A lot of people are clamoring about Ken Walker. He got the goal line rush last week. That was in garbage time, and they were in hurry up, so they actually couldn't take him off the field. So in a normal game script situation, would that have happened? I don't really know. I don't feel great about that, but it is what it is. I am curious to see just from like the last 3 or 4 weeks, what have their splits looked like. So I'm pulling that up right now, but I also lean JMO. He's been a little bit touchdown dependent, but he scored in 3 straight games. Ken Walker, there's not a lot of pass catching upside that I would have expected more of from him. So it's really, who do you think is more likely to get the touchdown? And I think that that's Williams this week. So I'm leaning with that with you. So if we look at the last 3 or 4 weeks, so their last 3 games, Ken Walker has been a snap percentage of 48.4. Charbonnet has been at 40. Their attempts have been at 39%, 31%, and then he's had 6 targets in the last 3 games. So it's fine. It is what it is. His expected fantasy points per game is at 12.5. It's a little bit more than Jamo's in the last couple of games. For him, he's been around 10. If I shorten this window just into the last couple of weeks, let me just refresh my data here. So it's the snap share, the attempts, like it's still pretty low. So I don't. Ken Walker's been doing a little bit more, but it's really been a touchdown dependent thing. I think just like from a volume perspective, it's still not enough for me to feel comfortable. So yeah, let's rock with J-Mo in that matchup.
And the Titans seem like a bad matchup, but they're more like middle of the road for running backs.
Well, the last couple of games, they've been really stout actually. So against Houston and the Chargers, they allowed less than 10 points per game in total for the whole team of running backs. Jonathan Taylor absolutely smacked on him, but it's Jonathan Taylor, right?
Right.
I do think that they're more of a middle-of-the-road matchup. The one benefit that you could see is that the game gets away and they start running just to bleed the clock out, so it's like a good game script situation for these guys.
Those 2 teams that you mentioned, though, too, like they can't block anything.
No.
They can't do anything up front.
No.
Line. So I think that's a little bit –
But I do like J-Mo. We're gonna talk more about him, but that would be the pick.
Yeah.
All right, so Tyler needs one of Michael Wilson, Alec Pierce, Ricky Pearsall, Christian Watson. To me, this boils down to 2 names, Drew. If you feel differently, let me know. But it really comes down to Michael Wilson, wide receiver 1 last week.
It's Michael Wilson.
Put up 33 points. He's looked really good. You have no Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think he repeats that 33 points. Jacoby Brissett set the record for completions in a game. Wilson had 18 targets, but he's clearly the number 2 pass catching option behind Trey McBride. Drew's prediction about Trey McBride, by the way, looking pretty sick from the beginning of the year.
Yeah, did he hit it? Did he get the 6 now?
I think he's at 5.
Oh, right there. Okay.
And then Christian Watson would be my backup choice out of the 2. Alec Pierce has a pretty tough matchup this week.
That's why I was going to just say Michael Wilson. It's between the first 2 for me, but Michael Wilson's the one I pick because Marv's already out.
Yeah. And then it looks like Tyler's just holding it down for me. So he said in relation to Kyler Murray, he's a QB3 for him, so that's super chill. He also did not get the Barstool reference at all. So shout out for those old East Coast dads holding it down as always. And let's see. He also said that he had to unload the clip to pick up Kirk to have a second QB and is still predicted to lose by almost 20. I don't know what you mean when you say I had to unload the clip.
He put up his fab bet was
fab budget. Okay. I was thinking
was like 60 on him.
I thought he was saying like trade unload the clip, and I was like, oh dear Lord.
I think I put a fab bid on him. And it was funny because, like, even if I was awarded him, which I'm happy Hurnley outbid me, I don't even think I had enough roster space to keep him. I would have had to, like, redrop him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Hurnley put up 58 for him.
Yeah, and that's all that he had. And, I mean, at this point in the season in a Dynasty League, that is probably, like, a player. Like, if you're getting a quarterback for the rest of the season, it's worth it to me. It doesn't really bother me.
I mean – finding out that he tore his ACL fully, it's kind of a steal for him because he's probably going to have a starting quarterback for next year.
Yeah.
I would have been way more had I known that because at the time it was just a partial tear and he might not have needed surgery.
Right.
He kind of got lucky there.
I agree. All right, so we got another question in the chat from Fire Bros 2675. Need 3 wide receivers: AJ Brown, Michael Wilson, Teteroa McMillan, Alec Pierce, Nico Collins. All right, I got my 3. We talked about Michael Wilson. I still think that he passes the sniff test here. Yeah. Teteroa McMillan, he is an easy 2 for me because he has been balling. He balled out last week, and they made some changes to the offense to get him in the slot more, and it seems like it really paid off. I also love that matchup for him. And the last one, Nico Collins. Nico Collins with long neck Mills. Mills is just basically, there's Nico. I'm throwing it to Nico every time. He's been popping off. AJ Brown has a pretty solid matchup this week
That's what I was
against
about to
Dallas,
say.
but I like these other guys more.
That's bold. Yeah, I with Dallas being the team that the Eagles play this week, I kind of want to get AJ Brown in. I think that he's going to put up points this week. I can honestly see this being a very high scoring game.
See, I don't know. This game is like one of those ones where it's like on paper it feels like it could, but to me this feels like a Saquon game to me. Because Dallas isn't really good at anything, and Philly's defense has been lights out as of late.
The Cowboys rush defense looked so good on Monday night though. Like they
definitely look improved with Williams in the clogging up the middle, because Williams is a certified game wrecker in the middle for the run game.
I just think that the Cowboys are playing up right now for whatever reason. It's because Quinn and Williams brought like different energy to that team. I honestly think that with CD and George playing the way that they are, Jake Ferguson playing the way they are, I think that there's enough weapons on their offense to put up points against the Eagles. I don't think Javonte Williams is going to do good this time. I know in week 1 he had a very good game. I think he had 2 touchdowns. We were talking about as a Tinder right off the bat.
I think actually you've convinced me. I'm putting in AJ Brown for Michael Wilson.
I think that's the move. That's what I was going to say. Because, think about what happened. I'm still good with Michael Wilson for the previous question, but
Michael Wilson's a good flex, no doubt. Yeah, I like him over, who was it? Alec Pierce, Ricky Pearsall, Christian Watson. Yeah, for sure. That's a different tier player. This is
think about what Jacoby Brissett had to do last week for Michael Wilson to get what he did too. He threw it 60 times and he completed 47 of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's probably not going to happen again. So I still like Wilson as a flex. I just don't think that he's going to outscore AJ Brown, Tet, and Nico. So I think that I would just stick to the 3 that you should, start your studs in this case.
Hope that was helpful. Also, this thumbnail is absolutely hilarious. Legendary. Just dogging on some mac and cheese. All right, or spaghetti, whatever that is. Let's transition into Fantasy Football Tinder. If you have not been with us on this journey before, we're just going to teach you a little bit on how this works. So this is our good friend Zach. People want to know, is a spit suspension looming for Zach?
He spit on me when we were at the tailgate 2 weeks ago.
Dang, that's crazy.
Right into my spit a loogie.
That's crazy, bro. So some people say, no, he's a model citizen, basically the mayor of Pittsburgh. He wouldn't even spit on the turf of Heinz Field.
It feels natural.
They would swipe right and say, hey, this is not an issue. You'll see the green hearts on the screen and an explanation to follow. For certified play haters like the one, the only Drew Hannis, they will be swiping left, hit the X's on the screen, and then you will get the explanation why. So in a timely conversation with Fire Bros here surrounding Michael Wilson, our first Tinder of the evening is going to be none other than Jacoby Brissett. And the people want to know, Drew, with this recent success, is Jacoby a Brissett and forget player for the rest of the season?
I can't believe we're even talking about this. Just think about where we've come this season. Now we're talking about Jacoby Brissett as a set and forget it quarterback. He is a set and forget it quarterback right now. He is. I'm swiping right. We already kind of alluded to what he did last week, but everyone keeps talking about how he's been a top 12 quarterback in 5 straight games. They're selling him short. He's been a top 10 quarterback in 4 straight games. Let's just kick it up a notch to what he's actually doing. And if he's a top 10 quarterback, he's a must start.
Last week, QB4.
Yeah, this is what's going on, though. He's averaging the most passing attempts per game since he started at 42. That's an insane number. And it's mainly because the Cardinals can't stop anybody on defense right now. They're playing in a lot of shootouts and coming from behind games. And I think this is going to continue. It might die down a little bit.
That schedule that he has is absolutely brutal. He would be somebody that I would trade.
Hold on. What do you not like about the schedule? Because I actually thought it was good.
He's got the Rams twice.
But the Rams, one of them is in Week 18, where most people aren't playing.
He's got the Texans.
3 of the 5 I thought were good. 3 of the 5, based on your chart, have given up at least 19 points per game over the last 3.
Yeah.
And he has the Bengals in championship week. That was like my big thing.
Yeah.
I feel really good about that. And the other thing I was gonna say it might die down because I think Trey Benson's gonna come back soon. They activated his window. I think that the fact that Bam Knight and Michael Carter, they've been fine, but it's nothing to be like crazy about as well. I think that it might take a little bit of a step back when Trey Benson comes back, but they're still throwing the ball when they get into the red zone. So like that's the other thing. He's averaging 6.5 red zone attempts per game.
Right.
And he's capitalizing on those attempts. He's throwing the ball in the end zone, he's scoring touchdowns. So
yeah,
I like the idea of 2 more weeks of no more Trey Benson. They're going to fire the ball around a bit. They have the Jags this week. Yeah, Jags this week at home.
Yep.
The Jags put up a crooked number last week, just out of nowhere. No one is suspected them to do what they did last week. I think it's going to be the same thing this week. He's going to throw a ton. Probably a lot of garbage time that's going to turn into a lot of fantasy points. But if you could stash him on your bench, I love him championship week. And this isn't one of those things where it's like where you started Davis Mills over Jared Goff based on matchup kind of thing. Like I think that this one actually has a leg to stand on. Like
we had to go there.
But it's the same situation. But like if you get in that thing, I would be like, I agree with you. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I feel good about him week 17. And
So do you think that there's any scenario where he doesn't retain the job for the rest of the year?
Oh, I don't think Kyler's playing another snap for the Arizona Cardinals. I think that's basically set in stone. I don't think that there's anyone on the planet that knows anything about football that would say that Kyler's going to play again for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
At this point.
No, I'm with you. I'm swiping right on this as well. I think the biggest thing for me is that they're going to be a pass-heavy team because even with Benson – they're not going to be running it very much. They're going to utilize the passing attack. If you look at their defense, they're giving up they're pretty leaky. That defense is young and not all that great. So they're going to either have a negative game script, which is going to benefit him, or like the running is just not going to be there. So I like him. He's a high-end QB2. Depending on the matchup, you slot him into that QB1 kind of spot. Like you said, you have that championship game where you got the Bengals, so that's pretty great. So we'll see how it runs, but yeah, I think he's solid.
You trade him in Dynasty though, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I've had that come up a few times. Like if you own him in Dynasty, he's not going to be a starting quarterback next year. He's going to revert back to what he is, and that's a backup. So like if you can get anything for him, I would take a 3rd round pick unless I'm competing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Chad is saying that the Bucks that's gonna be like more of a run funnel. I think that Bucks defense is pretty porous either way, but we'll see what we got. All right, so another question before we jump into Tinder 2. Dynasty question: Saquon, AJ Brown, and Jordan Addison for Ladd McConkey and James Cook. Which side do you like?
I would prefer the Ladd and James Cook side.
Does it change for you whether you're competing or rebuilding or somewhere in between, or agnostic of that, you keep the same?
Yeah, I don't think it would matter to me either way. I think that Saquon's going to come around. AJ Brown, his future is very much up there. He is not going to be the Eagle next year. So, like, depending on where he goes, his dynasty value could either skyrocket or it could just taper off. I'm not really like. Jordan Addison was a 1st-round pick in Dynasty, 1st-round pick in the real NFL draft. He really hasn't done it. You know what I mean? Like, he's had a few good games here and there, but, like, he hasn't been worth the rookie pick, in my opinion. And J.J. McCarthy looks terrible. So, like, I have no interest in rostering Jordan Addison in Dynasty right now, in my opinion. I could be completely off base here, but he hasn't done – he's been very inconsistent, and you don't know what you're going to get out of him week over week.
Yeah.
And that's been for a while, even with Sam Darnold, because it's so heavy. Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson gets his. I prefer the Ladd side and the James Cook side because James Cook, high octane offense, he scores a lot of touchdowns, and that it doesn't seem like it's fluky with him. Like he's just consistently scores touchdowns for that team. and Lad's finally coming back around to what we expect Lad to be. I mean,
Yeah.
What side are you? What side are you on?
I mean, I think I like the larger side more. Like Jordan Addison, he has a weird quarterback situation, but he's not like an old receiver. I think he could have similar upside to Lad once he gets out behind Jefferson. Like Jordan Addison is sick.
Do you think he's going to get out of Jefferson's shadow though? Like,
I don't know. That's kind of that's the gamble. I love James Cook. I love Lad McConkey. But I think if I have any semblance of competing this year, I'm taking the Eagles side.
Okay. AJ Brown has like 5 games with 3 or less points.
I hear you.
Like he's very much like it's not getting better either. I like him this week because of the matchup.
Right.
Like he honestly could have a big game and then go back to being what he was again, which is what I kind of expect. Like the way he just went on the live stream last week and just unloaded the clip on the Eagles, is just I don't know. And Saquon, I think this is like a down year for him, but I think that he'll bounce back. But he's also getting to that age where the running back starts to die, like their value starts to die down in Dynasty. That's the other thing I'm looking at here. He's going to be 28. Lad and James Cook are younger.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's
more talent on that side. I get that part.
Yeah, for sure. I just think that AJ Brown, he's still young enough. He's 28. He's got time.
It's just where is he going to go?
Yeah, but I don't know. I try not to worry about that too much because wherever he goes, he's going to be the wide receiver 1, and it's probably going to be a better passing situation than what he's in now. So I feel like and I think Addison is like a pretty sweet piece as well. Like like Addison in the draft last year was like a low end first. I think
if you're winning now, though, don't you think Lad and James Cook are more valuable right now to like go for a championship? Addison's a bench player for me right now. So if you're win now,
yeah, maybe. Because like, how old is Saquon Barkley right now?
He's gonna be 28.
So then I feel like you got a couple years with him and Brown still elite. Jordan Addison continuing to come to his own. I mean, yeah, this is a solid trade. I think it's going to be close. I still think I like the Saquon, AJ Brown, Addison side.
I'm not going to argue with the logic that you're getting 3 good players. I just think that Lad and James Cook are better.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at.
Cool. All right. So we got Tyler saying just kind of licking his wounds a little bit. So lost his matchup, played Muth over Ferguson. Friend of the pod, typically pretty monstrous against Cincinnati. Don't see nothing there. Needs Addison to come back next year. Drew, I don't even know what to do with this.
You know that person? I saw that.
I don't think I do.
I feel like it's someone that you know and you don't realize that you know them.
John DeGrom. That's tough. I don't know. Do I know any John DeGroms? And I'm trying to think of what my cadence would be. No, I don't know any John DeGroms. But
ask Jake DeGrom how his elbow's feeling.
Probably pretty good. But you know whose cadence that I really liked for like the hard count stuff was Cam Newton. Cam Newton was he had what was it? It was I'm trying to think. Yeah, so basically Cam Newton's whole thing is that he would basically draw out the way that he did it. So it'd be like a wide, and then the way that he did it, like he just took so long saying it that it drew people offsides like all the time.
I had to turn my sound off just in case you cadenced me again. Yeah, I was trying to figure out who John DeGrom was on Twitter. You just yelled right in my ear.
Well, that's all right. But Cam's is probably my favorite. I also really like the Ben Roethlisberger, the dilly. Like that one was always solid, but that was more of like a check more than anything else. But
he did that one time.
Yeah, and it was great.
I'll never forget it, though. It was against the Titans on the Thursday night game. We were walloping them.
So good. All right, Drew, we're running pretty slow tonight, so let's get moving with some of these. So Tinder number 2, we've talked about him a bit ad nauseum. I'm going to jump right to both of the swipes so we can talk about them. But do you think that Jamo back on the menu for the Lions?
Swipe right. Yeah, I feel like we talked about him enough, right? I don't have too much more to add. I mean, his snap counts have been up there the whole time. Laporte is on IR. They have good matchups most of the time the rest of the way. It's just they have the Rams at week 15. Oh, I guess I could add this. They have 6 of their 7 games in a dome, and that actually matters with this team. So, like, that's a plus for him as well. He might still be a little Jekyll and Hyde. Honestly, like, he kind of has a little bit of a Tyler Lockett to him in terms of his boom-bust nature. But I think because Dan Campbell is calling the plays now and really trying to get him involved, like, he's a big Jameson Williams fan.
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
that he's going to be much more valuable rest of the way.
And we've seen too in the last 3 weeks his targets he's gotten 2 more targets per game. His ADOT is down, so it was from 16.2 to 11. So they're putting him in more realistic. Hey, go get the ball and then do something with it, not just like these boomer bust shots. And you mentioned it before the show, Sam Laporta being out. That's one less mouth to feed in that offense. That's more opportunities for him that he's going to take.
And when they get in the red zone, they're targeting too. It's weird. Like against the Eagles last week, they ran the same exact play back-to-back times and went to Jameson Williams both times. He scored on the second one. Like they're making it an effort to make him the number one option. And I know that you mentioned some concern over Amon-Ra before the show, but it seems like that there's enough there for both of them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And Gibbs. The only thing that concerns me might be a little bit is that they did mention today, Dan Campbell mentioned in his press conference that they want to get David Montgomery the ball more, which I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't understand they're going to do that.
I think it's going to be easy this week because I feel like there's a blowout incoming.
Yeah.
Against the Giants. It's like, yeah, here you go, David Montgomery. Remember I said I was going to get you the ball more? Like, here you go.
Yeah. But that could be a problem because it can't support all 4 of them. Gibbs needs to get his and Jamo and Amon-Ra. But
yeah.
I feel good. Swipe right.
Yeah, me too. I'm totally with you. We hit all the points. So let's transition to our last segment of the day, the OnlyFantasy subscription for the week, where each week we both pick one player we think is going to have divine performances that are must have, must watch, must subscribe. We take a look at last week. Had the right idea, wrong player. Rachaad White, 10 carries, 51 yards, 2 receptions, 11 yards. Sean Tucker, pleased, right in my face. In another universe, Rachaad White would have been the running back that I wanted to play. Drew had selected Jalen Waddle. Great matchup, but Tua just completely stunk it up. 3 receptions, 52 yards on 7 targets, wide receiver 41. That one shocked me. I thought Waddle was going to be looking at a top 5 week.
He had 4 drops, and they were ugly drops. Like it could have been a completely different stat line for him had he caught the ball. I don't know what was wrong with him last week, but he had bad drops and it cost him. 3 for 52 is pretty solid. If he catches 2 more of those, he's looking at potentially 5 for 90, but still wouldn't have been great because he didn't really get into close to getting in the end zone. But I felt really good about that one. It was probably my favorite one of the year. I felt that good about it, but it didn't pan out. So we move on.
We move on. We live, we laugh, we love. So Chad, it sounds like he's got his prediction coming in the chat. If you have an OnlyFantasy prediction for this week, let us know. If it hits, I'll definitely put it up on there because I do all the graphics and stuff, so we have the technology to make that happen. So, Drew, let's just start fresh, clean slate. Week 12, who do you got?
I went with quarterback, someone who had 7 turnovers over the last 2 games and scored less than 5 fantasy points in total both of those weeks. Sam Darnold got the Titans this week. They're giving up 22.5 fantasy points per game to quarterbacks over the last 3. Top 10 quarterbacks each of the last 4 games that they've had given up at least 250 yards passing in every game but one. And that was a Drake May, and he had 68 yards rushing. So he made up for what he lost in the passing game by running the ball. And they've given up at least 2 touchdown passes in 3 of the last 5. The only 2 that didn't do it, Davis Mills last week and Geno Smith. like way back in week 6. So this is just one of those get right games for me. I think JSN is just going to shit all over the Tennessee Titans secondary. Rashid Shaheed, call it right now. Rashid Shaheed touchdown score. He's going to get his first one as a Seahawk. I will bet it right after this. I didn't even check the odds yet, but I will throw an anytime touchdown bet on Rashid Shaheed. I think he takes a long one. I think Sam Darnold, gets back on track against the Titans. The only thing I hate about this is I wish that they were at home. I hate the idea of them traveling cross country, but I feel too good about the matchup, and I think that Sam Darnold, is better than what he's seen the last 2 weeks. Who did they play 2 weeks ago? I'm blanking on, but the Rams just own Sam Darnold, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. They had a good game a couple of weeks ago. They played Arizona and then Washington before that.
Oh, in the game before that, the Arizona game, they had 2 defensive touchdowns, and then they had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Like, he just didn't have the opportunity. So I'm not really worried about that one. He did fumble a couple times. They got to him. But I think that he'll get back on track this week. I feel really good about Sam Darnold.
There you go. All right, so Chad's only fantasy prediction for the week, Jerry Jeudy 15-catch game is here. He's angry. He's talking a lot. He's going to get force-fed a dose of here's a career game. Now please be quiet. We'll see. It could be interesting. I don't know. That's very bold. Shador's first career start.
Good matchup, at least.
See what happened. Good matchup, at least. Speaking of good matchups, I am going with Chris Olave. He is 9th amongst receivers this year with an expected fantasy points scored of 17.5 points per game. We talked about Atlanta a lot tonight. They're absolutely depleted. They're giving up 41.9 points per game to wide receivers in the last 3 weeks. He's averaging 7.7 targets per game. Tyler Shuck didn't actually look that bad against Carolina. He put up 282 yards, and that run game is just not doing a whole lot. So I think that the Saints win that game. I think they win it through the air. I really like Chris Olave. I also like Jawan Johnson a lot. People are saying, hey, what's going to happen with the different things that are out there? What's going to be the play with Rashid Shaheed being gone now? I think that's going to result in a really good kind of rest of season for Jawan Johnson. So he had the hot start to the year. People dropped him with the midseason kind of blues, and I think he pops back. So there you have it.
I want to add something really quick here to your thoughts. You should have brought this up as a headline at the beginning, and it slipped our minds, but it just circled back around with a tweet I just read. Keon Coleman's going to be a healthy and active again.
Again?
Yes. It's already being reported that he's not going to be on the field again. That's crazy, honestly.
Well, I mean, he's had a history of missing practices or whatever.
It's getting out of hand, though, for it to be back-to-back weeks of the healthy and active.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? It's been kind of a trendy thing a little bit. We saw it with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Apparently, they were out at the casino the night before the game. We saw it.
He threw up at 7:30 in the morning at the casino, from what I was reading.
Absolutely insane. But yeah, Chad's saying absolutely going to get traded in the offseason. So yeah, I see it. I just don't know who's going to want him because he hasn't really done a lot since week 1.
And he was a guy that, most of us were low on in the draft process just because he just couldn't separate in college. If you can't separate in college, it's much harder to separate in the NFL.
Yeah.
But
Chad's predicting the Titans for a 3rd-round pick. I wouldn't waste the 3rd with that personally, but
I'd rather – I mean, it's kind of similar to Alec Eilmanor.
Yeah, but I don't really see Alec as a ball hawk. He's more of the blocking, to me, he's a bigger physical, Jacoby Myers without separation.
But that's what I feel like Keon Coleman.
I don't view Keon Coleman as a willing and able blocker.
Yeah, but I think it's more of a willing, but he's a physical perimeter receiver.
And no, Terrell Shavers is not the Bills' new number 1. No.
Did he have 2 targets and one just went for a touchdown? Everybody blew up.
Pretty much. All right, Drew, so let's let the people know where to find us. We're already at 1 hour and 5 for the show, so we appreciate y'all tuning in. You can find us at our personal handles at JOEFRK, at Drew Hannis. You can find the show on X at AT412FF Show and on YouTube or Twitch with the Around the 412 family channels. One thing I do want to speak out before we kind of shut it down for the night, we are well in deep with the Rockin' Around the 412 charity drive. We have already helped 74 kids so far this year, bringing them just kind of the kind of like a holiday season that you want. So this is looking at like Salvation Army tags. This is helping individual families in need. Our previous high was 66 children assisted. My goal for the year, knowing this information, is to help 100. So we will have the link in the description of the show. If you're feeling generous, if you're looking for somewhere to give for Giving Tuesday here in a couple weeks, great cause. Zach and Tyler do a great job of kind of putting this together. It's been run the last few years in partnership with the family of Dalton Keene, a friend of the show who passed away a few years ago at Heinz Field. But yeah, really awesome stuff that the guys are doing. Just want to plug that real quick. And with that, Drew, I'll leave it to you. Any closing thoughts as we close out week 12?
No, definitely well said on the Rock Around the 412 stuff. Definitely, give that a look on the Around the 412 page, donate. And, best of luck to you and others that are starting Scott Fishbowl playoffs this week.
Woo-woo. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. And if y'all need anything as we lead into week 12, find us, send us a DM, leave us a comment on the video, like and subscribe if you're into that kind of thing, or you can just ask us to do random football cadences. That was definitely a first. But this has been the Round the 412 Fantasy Football Show. We will see you next Wednesday, 8:30, Thanksgiving Eve special, and kick some butt week 12. We'll see you next time.